This is the first time that I'm here in Mount Vernon, but I can feel it. And this morning, when I woke up at 4 o'clock, and I asked myself what I should tell to you, I had almost the impression that George Washington was near my bed in Seoul and was addressing me and saying, look, what kind of a world have you these days? Isn't it chaotic? To what has been mentioned earlier in speeches, one can say that we had you had 80 million people dead since the year 1900, which is 500 times more than the 19th century, that you're spending almost $1,000 billion on armaments. What kind of a world is this? And I thought, what can I answer to George Washington? And these are the answers which I would have given him. The first one would be to say, well, at least we did one thing. Namely, on the bicentennial of the US Constitution, of the Declaration of Independence, we sat with the Secretary General of the UN and all the heads of the United Nations agencies, organized by the World Council Affairs in Philadelphia, and we adopted on the same anniversary day of the Declaration of Independence a Declaration of Interdependence. So we have here something, a basis, like the Charter of the United Nations, which could be tremendously improved. And in terms of these improvements, I would just say that the Federalists of Europe have met with the European Union, and the European Union and the World Federalists of Europe have agreed to a number of fundamental changes in the United Nations, the first of which would be the creation of a United Nations Parliamentary Assembly. The second one, which they proposed, was that we should have an international police force. And this is written down in the Charter. But it has never been implemented because of the Cold War. So why don't we try to do it now? Where the heads of the armies get together. The heads of the armies of the big powers were requested to meet in a military staff council. They met once at Hunter College, and with the Cold War, it was finished. But now they could meet, and their task was, number one, to have a world security system and then disarmament. Why don't we do it today? Why do we have to speak about the extension of NATO and SEATO? That will come up. And to have NATO and this. This is almost insanity. I would beg President Clinton to wake up in the morning and to turn to Franklin Roosevelt and say, what do you think of this idea of the extension of NATO? And Franklin Roosevelt, you must be crazy to think of this. When you have the occasion now for the first time to have a world military system or police system. And since the United States is a US federal government, why not try, after perhaps trying a world union after the European Union, why not try after the United States, a United States of the world? It would then finish the whole alphabet from USA. It would be USW. So here's another possibility. And why do not the Americans meet in Philadelphia to try a second miracle in Philadelphia? Even if it takes years. It took 10 years to get the US Constitution. It took 34 years to get the European Union. Well, at least let us sit down and try. Nobody is committed. Get the best thinkers from around the world to make a proposal for the United States of the world. And then I would even make another suggestion to George Washington, saying, look, what is very interesting is that at your time, people were only interested in the human condition. And when the United Nations was created, we were dealing only with the human condition. The word nature, the word earth, the word resources never appears in the charter. Why? Because we considered that the earth was unlimited. So the United Nations was the greatest humanistic charter ever on this planet. Avoid wars, prevent the children from dying in early childhood, have universal human rights for everybody, for the blacks, for the indigenous people, for the women, have a whole list to increase the well-being of people, increase the education of the people. It is the most incredible humanistic charter we've ever had in the entire human history. And then, today, suddenly, it is the earth which has become number one. We do not want population to increase. We would like to have consumption of the earth's resources to be diminished. The environment and the earth have become priority number one. And humanity has become priority number two. We have to adapt ourselves, our lifestyles, to the survival of the planet. Because if we continue for another 50 years the way we produce and have economics and multinational corporations selling everything they can sell, within 50 years this planet, you can mark my words, will be finished. So that this is why I would even propose to do something audacious and new. I would like to get some of the best brains of the planet together and to work out a completely new scheme, which I would call Earth government, where we would have a system for the proper management and salvation of our Earth.